Hello, I'm Lauren with IndoorGardening.com, and today we're going to talk about the 5 easiest peperomia. Peperomia get kind of a bad reputation out there. People either love them or they absolutely hate them, and what it really boils down to is conditions. There are 1,500 species of peperomia out there, and unfortunately no one peperomia is going to be great in all conditions. Most of the time the peperomias that are on the market are either really great for people who have a very high humidity or in a terrarium environment, or they are the love it and leave it alone succulent type of peperomia. So we're going to kind of break that down today and to help you determine what peperomia is going to work best in your home, and these are the easiest in the variety of conditions so that you can choose which one's going to work best for you. First up, we have Peperomia Obtusifolia. This beautiful plant has jade green circular leaves, and they're very thick and they're very chunky and succulent-like leaves. This plant does not need a lot of water. You will notice it has a very thick stem, so it can hold a lot of water. It does not need to be watered that often. This is one of those plants that if you give it too much water all the time, it's going to rot. So definitely wait until it clearly needs water, the leaves are soft and flexible, and then you can water it. Bottom watering usually works better for peperomia depending on the type of soil that you have. This particular plant does not need a lot of light, but it can handle more light. It's very much like a succulent, so if you want to keep it in a brighter light, it will be okay with that. If the leaves start to get little brown spots on them, generally that's because it's getting sunburned and a little too much light, so just pull it back and the new growth will look fine for you. Peperomia Napolinites is one that prefers a higher humidity and a lower light. They like morning light a little bit better, and they like about 45 to 50% humidity or more. It is a bushing, clumping plant, so they definitely prefer to be bottom watered as well. Do not mist these. The water will sit on the leaves. They will cause brown spots. Also, fungus and bacterial infections can happen because the leaves are so tightly clumped together that the water can't leave properly, especially if they are in a limited airflow location. These plants are very easy care though. All you have to do is just set them in a morning light window and just leave them there. Just leave them there. You don't have to water them that often. Again, also the beautiful silver sheen on these leaves sparkles in that morning light, and it is something fantastic to see when you wake up every morning. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you don't have to do anything to them. I water mine about once a month, and the more you prune, the more bushy and bigger it gets. So there is that as well. It's a very fun, easy plant. Peperomia Prostrata is a very easy care plant as long as you get a more mature version. If you get a smaller version, it's going to need a terrarium environment, but if you get a larger pot, a more mature version where the leaves are bigger and more succulent, they're going to be able to hold on to more water and they can handle that lower humidity environment for you. So very easy care plant. They're also called string of turtles because they get these turtle shell markings. If they get too much light, then they can burn a little bit. They generally prefer morning light, but it's one of those plants that once you get them in the right conditions, you don't have to water them that often. You can just walk up and enjoy their beautiful new growth. Next up is Peperomia Angulata. They're a very beautiful plant. They're a trailing creeping peperomia. They have these beautiful leaves that are almost spear shaped, and then they have this beautiful green veination that goes over top of them. This peperomia can handle a lot more light. This one is one of the most versatile peperomia out there because they can handle the terrarium environments and they'll grow and they'll creep, but they can also handle standard environments. They are also a really awesome plant in the sense that they enjoy being pruned. So when you cut one vine, it will actually divide into two. So then you cut that vine and it'll divide into two again. It's a really fascinating plant. So you can get a really bushy plant very easily. They're also very easy to propagate. This makes them a very fun beginner plant as well as just being a very easy care plant. They do not need a lot of water. They don't need a lot of attention. They do prefer that higher light to produce new growth, but if you stick them in a lower light, they'll just sit there, very similar to a snake plant. They won't pass on, but they won't grow either. So they're one of those, you could do what you want with them plants. They don't necessarily need any special conditions, but if you want them to have their best life, give them a little bit higher humidity and a lot more light. I absolutely adore this plant personally because it's got all this variegation going on, but then you get these very big, thick leaves. And it doesn't need a lot of light, it doesn't need a lot of attention, but if you give it more light, it will be completely fine with it. This is one of those variegated plants that if it gets some direct light, it's not going to burn for you, especially if you get a more mature version. They grow in a bush formation and the stem gets even thicker as it grows. It's very, very cool plant. Definitely one of the reasons why peperomia are tossed in with succulents as far as that goes, because they have these super, super thick leaves and can handle a variety of conditions. They do not need a higher humidity. You can stick them in 10 to 15% humidity. They will be fine. If you want them to grow and produce a lot more, then give them a little bit more humidity than that. The only caveat with this plant is if you water it all the time, it is going to rot because, again, it's one of those thick-leaved, thick-stemmed plants. They hold on to all their water, so if you try to give them more, it's going to make them go mushy and they're not going to enjoy a lot of water. They're not going to be able to hold it. So you just want to make sure that you hold off on the watering and you just set them there and you just look at them and enjoy how pretty they are. Hopefully this helped you find the peperomia of your dreams that's going to thrive in your home environment. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more hope for peperomia care or helped you troubleshoot some issues that you may be having with your particular peperomias. Be sure to check out indoorgardening.com for more information, and we are always happy to help. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!